Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to our Get Astrologic Now YouTube channel. And today I want to talk about the outer planets concerning how they relate in a personal individual's chart using Vedic astrology. See, before I was talking about how the outer planets can really depict generational and world events in terms of prediction. But today I want to talk about how to use them in the Vedic chart and how they're related to the personal planets. So first of all, the aspects that I use with the outer planets are the conjunction, the square, and the opposition. And using these, what we call hard aspects, I will relate them to personal experiences and the personal chart. So let's talk about what they mean. Uranus is change. It's going to be explosive, unexpected shifts in awareness, consciousness. It deals with electricity, so it's jolts of awareness. And it can deal with sudden, unexpected events. And it can also rule heart attacks because it's a jolt of energy. And when you put Uranus with the sun, it can sometimes represent heart attacks because the sun is the heart. And it is your personal well-being in your physical body. So Uranus-Sun contacts, either conjunct, opposed, or opposite, can deal with these unexpected changes in life as life goes on. Plus also with Uranus, it can represent unconventional behavior, being rebellious. It can represent someone that's extraordinarily rebellious and has issues and problems with authority when it's conjunct the sun, or with your father, because the sun, remember, is the father. So Uranus, when it makes an aspect to the moon, which is a very personal planet, can represent changes emotionally, being emotionally unstable, or even having a mother that can be emotionally unstable. But it represents change, disruption, unconventional. It can represent dealing with the explosions of unconsciousness. So that's where we come with Uranus. And with Venus, it can represent unconventional love affairs, or, you know, something dealing with change and being with someone that is socially unacceptable or that our families may not accept. And with Venus, it can represent flashes of insight with creativity, because Venus is that creative force. Let's talk about Uranus with Mercury. Uranus deals with this inventive ingeniousness, out of the box kind of thinking. So when it's with Mercury, this is people who are highly inventive and creative. They think beyond this world, things that other people can't fathom or imagine. When we have Uranus with Mars, it can represent explosive events and accidents per se, because Mars being this force of vital energy with fire, and Uranus can be unexpected events. So it deals with being very explosive, especially with somebody that has no patience and has rash decisions. So that's why it deals particularly with accidents. So let's talk about planet Neptune. Neptune is a planet that deals with deception, deceit, and denial. It's like seeing things through rose-colored glasses. And when I see Neptune, sometimes I say it's like a spell's been cast on you. So it's like you can't see things for the way they really are. And when Neptune is aspecting the sun, it can make someone confused at times. It can make them not have an understanding of their father, because the sun is the father. Or when Neptune's with the moon, it can be problems of not understanding the mother. But it can also represent the spiritual side. Neptune can be very spiritual, or it's a very fine line, whether it's the spiritual or it's the out there, being flaky, being, you know, not with society, being otherworldly, not recognizing what to do in this world, mass confusion. So Neptune with Mercury can be getting lost, not understanding what to do with your life. Neptune with Mars can be extreme delusional behavior, not seeing things clearly. But at the same time, remember there's that other extreme of Neptune where it can represent mysticism and spirituality. But there, like I said, there's a fine line between delusion and spirituality sometimes. So Neptune with the moon can represent a mother that is very delusional or very spiritual. So let's talk about Pluto. Now, Pluto is the energy of major change and transformation. And when it's conjunct a personal planet, it can represent a transformative type person. With the sun, it can be a transformation in life. But Pluto at the other end of the spectrum can be about control and manipulation. So Pluto with the sun can be someone that's very controlling and can be manipulative of others. This can also represent the essence of what the Father's all about. Pluto with the moon can have a controlling mother, but it can also be very emotional. The moon is your emotions. This can be someone that feels deeply with depth and passion. And when you have Pluto aspecting Venus, it can deal with betrayal, relationships that deal with betrayal and being lost or left, or just finding that your relationships have this emotional pull and that there's a transformational quality in relationships, so they're passionate. But it will represent problems in relationships with Venus. Pluto with Mercury can be a very controlling mind, someone that can either go to the depths of the soul, or it can be someone that tries to manipulate and control others, particularly in the way that they communicate. So with Mars, Pluto-Mars can be explosive. It can be, off the charts, where there could be, like big events that cause endings and change in life. And this would be, of course, recognize that wherever these two planets come from, the houses they're in will represent the area of life that these occurrences do happen. And as I'm talking about these outer planets conjunct or square or oppose personal planets in a birth chart, I also want you to recognize that the same thing occurs when we're talking about transits. So if we have a Pluto transit aspecting a personal planet, Neptune aspecting a personal planet, or Uranus. So with Pluto, I tell my clients that it's like a big transformational event when Pluto's on a personal planet. What happens is you feel like it's the worst thing that's ever happening in your life, but what you'll find is about 2 years later, once it's all settled and the change has happened, you look back and you go, thank God that happened, because I couldn't be where I am and what I'm doing with my life now. So it has this wonderment of change and transformation that changes you for the better. Neptune's quite different. I find that when Neptune transits come around, it's like a spell's been cast over you. Neptune with Venus, opposing Venus, it's like all of a sudden you feel like a relationship you can't live without. But what you find out later is when the spell's worn off, you wonder, what was I thinking? That's Neptune to Venus, okay? Or Neptune to any of the personal planets. Once the aspect wears off, so does the spell, and you think quite differently. You start to see clearly again. Uranus is sudden, unexpected, explosive events. Uranus to Venus can be like the breakup of a love affair. It can be the endings. It can be a beginning where you're swept off your feet. So whatever, it shifts the patterns of whatever personal planet that it is conjunct. So with this, I want you to consider that these outer planets have a huge effect and a long range effect when we're working with the personal planets, whether they're in the natal chart, these outer planets aspecting, or the transits of these outer planets aspecting the natal positions. You will see that these will involve life-changing events. And so with that, if you would like a personal reading with me, you can go to my website, which is galacticcenter.org. Thank you.